Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucimus Prime here, so it's time for another Transformers movie review, and today guys, I'm going to be reviewing the 4th installment of the live-action remake directed by Michael Bay, which is called Transformers Age of Extinction, released in 2014. And guys, I'm not alone today, because joining me to review this movie is once again my very good friend X-Play, so I'm going to let him share his thoughts on the movie first, and I'll link his channel description below for you guys to go check out his channel, go subscribe and support, so yeah. Anyway, take it away, X-Plays.
Hello everybody, and thank you Luke for inviting me again. It's a honor to be in here again. Alright, so here are my pros and cons for Transformers 4 Age of Extinction. My first pro is Cade. He is way better than Sam. He's way better than Sam in general. Sam, he just whines a lot, gets knocked out, gets nearly died. Cade, he shoots the Decepticons. That's the best part about him, I think. And my other pro... Oh, Frank Welker. My favorite voice actor returns. And is Galvatron. He's not Megatron, because that was Hugo. So he's Galvatron, and that's really cool, actually. But yeah, Leonard Nimoy will forever be Galvatron, but Frank Welker did really good here. Another pro, Lockdown. That was, I think, the really coolest thing. Like, a bounty hunter, not a Decepticon as a main villain. Really cool, I would say that. Oh, and the new Autobot team. Hound, Crosshairs, Drift. They were amazing. I would say that. They were amazing. Alright. Let's go on to my cons now. Terrible CGI. I'm not gonna say much. It's horrible. It's not as good as the first 3 movies, as because DreamWorks are not in it even. They're not involved. Now a con. Oh, the bots. They all look humanoid now. You don't see the Decepticons having sharp pieces on them and such. They're all trying to look human now. Why? But yeah. Oh, another one. Tessa. Oh no. She was the worst part about this movie. If she wasn't in the movie, this would have been a good movie. But yeah. Oh no, TJ Miller. Oh, yeah, TJ Miller. He's horrible. I don't like him in here. Thankfully, he dies. Lockdown. Throws a grenade. Oh, Navicon. Dinobots. They don't have much screen time. They only show 4 times, I think. That's all. And yeah. Oh, I also hated the part where KSI was dissing Bumblebee. He looked ugly and such. It was annoying. Another con, a lot of plot holes. Oh, that was way too much. Where is Sideswipe and such? Where are the missing Autobots? But yeah. So that's all my cons for right now. So thank you, Luke. And see ya.
Alright, so it's my turn to review this. So what is this movie about? So, quick synopsis. When humanity allies with a bounty hunter in pursuit of Optimus Prime, the Autobots turn to a mechanic and his family for help. So that is a plot of the movie, guys. So yeah, now, I'm going to be honest and say that, this movie is an example of a movie which is definitely an unnecessary sequel to what is my favourite Bayformers movie, Darker Moon. Darker Moon, in my opinion, perfectly ended with Bayformers films, and this was definitely an unnecessary sequel, but it does have many, saving graces, which made me prefer it over Revenge of the Fallen, and also definitely over The Last Night, which in my opinion is the worst Bayformers movie, because I do not like that movie at all. But yeah, so the good quality is a movie is so once again, just like the previous movies, it once again has great voice acting. For example, Peter Cullen, my favourite voice actor of all time, returned as Optimus Prime, and he gave such an amazing performance as Prime in this movie. He was phenomenal. Really great, and I love how in many battle scenes he was shouting a lot. He definitely put so much effort into a role. I loved his voice in this movie. And I also love as well how we got introduced to, you know, many new Autobots as well as Optimus and Bumblebee, and Ratchet also returned voice by Robert Foxworth, but unfortunately, you know, something happened which I was very angry about, but yeah. So yeah, and but when it comes to new Autobots, I love the introduction of Hound, Drift, and Crosshairs. And these voices, you know, for the characters were my favourites. So John Goodman voiced Hound, he's my favourite Hound, that's my favourite role of John Goodman. John DiMaggio, one of my favourite voice actors, he voiced Crosshairs and he was brilliant as him. He previously voiced Leadfoot in Darker Moon, guys, and he came in this film to voice Crosshairs, in this film and the sequel, The Last Night. And Ken Watanabe, my favourite Japanese actor of all time, he provided a voice of Drift, and that's my favourite voice role of him, absolutely. You know, I thought he was perfectly cast as Drift. And yeah. And in addition, Leadfoot, who DiMaggio voiced in the previous movie, he made a cameo appearance via drone footage, but unfortunately something bad happened to Leadfoot. But for some strange reason, he was not voiced by John DiMaggio. If I remember correctly, I think he was actually voiced by Robert Foxworth. So yeah. And it's evident that he's got a different voice because he sounds very different to how he did in Darker Moon, you know, much more deeper voice and lacking the Cockney accent that John DiMaggio used for a role. And when it comes to Decepticons, unfortunately, you know, none of them returned from the previous movie because they've all been defeated, of course, in the Battle of Chicago. For unknown reasons, Barricade did not return in this movie. He returned in the next one, which was very confusing and made no sense. But when it comes to a new cast, I loved the introduction of Galvatron, who is, of course, voiced by his original voice actor from Generation 1's show, Frank Welker. So, yeah. And I gotta say, guys, but Frank Welker's voice, I prefer in this movie over the G1 show because, you know, compared to my favourite Galvatron voice from the 19X movie, Leonard Nimoy, may he rest in peace and live long and prosper, Frank, in my opinion, sounded pretty silly compared to Leonard and not really as evil as Leonard did in the movie, to be honest, when he voiced him in the show after a movie. But I feel like in this movie, however, he redeemed himself because he sounded way more scary and menacing. Like, when he says his first line to Optimus, you know, "That is why I have no fear." Like, that was so chilling because I saw it at the cinema, guys, in 3D, and yeah, it was pretty chilling hearing his voice as Galvatron. He sounded so menacing, so yeah. Unfortunately, Galvatron didn't really get very much screen time, sadly, because he was not the main antagonist, because we're going to get on to the main antagonist, who is probably one of my favourite parts of the whole movie, guys. And we also got introduced to other Decepticons. For example, we got introduced to Stinger. But Stinger I didn't really like, guys, because, you know, he was basically a non-speaking character. I think he only had, like, you know, or maybe one or even no lines, little to no lines, and I didn't really like him, you know, he was soulless and just a Bumblebee knockoff. And guys, do not get me started on the scene in KSI where they introducing Stinger and they're making fun of Bumblebee. Like when I first watched the movie, I was thinking, what? Don't insult Bumblebee! Like, even Bumblebee was upset, I mean, but it was satisfying when he knocked over Stinger's, you know, statue. That was pretty satisfying, you know, the Stinger on display. Yeah, was it a statue? I'm not sure, but yeah, he knocked it over. That was very satisfying. It was also nice to see Reno Wilson return as Brains as well, guys, but unfortunately the movie did not explain what happened to Wheelie, which was a shame. Wheelie returned in the last night, but Brains appeared in this movie, and, you know, he ran away after they rescued him, and we never saw him again, sadly, because he was free. And when it comes to, you know, the main antagonist, I did love Lockdown, guys, who is voiced by Mark Ryan. That's my favourite role of Mark Ryan. You know, Lockdown was such a great villain and very interesting because he's neither Autobot nor Decepticon. He's simply a bounty hunter working with the humans to capture Optimus Prime alive. And he's helping them hunt the Autobots, you know, to find Optimus. Because Optimus's creators want him back, so yeah. But yeah, Lockdown was such a great villain, very menacing, you know, and his alternate mode was also pretty cool, you know, his Lamborghini that he turned into, which is actually Michael Bay's car, guys, which is pretty awesome. And yeah. But Lockdown was amazing in this movie, and I actually like him far more than The Fallen, because for one thing, he has way more screen time than The Fallen, and he has way more conversation with Optimus than The Fallen did, you know. You know, that's one quality about this movie which makes me feel Revenge of the Fallen. So, yeah. Now, other good qualities I will say, guys, is I think this movie has a majority of much more likeable humans from the previous movies. Because compared to the first three movies, guys, none of the original actors in the first three live-action movies returned as their human characters. None did. And when it comes to the main character, guys, I really enjoyed Cade Yeager, played by Mark Wahlberg. Like, I found him way more tolerable and much more better than Sam Witwicky. Like, he was way less cringy, so yeah. But I only like him in this movie, guys. I did not like him in the next film. But yeah, he was way better than Sam in this movie, absolutely. And I also, as well, love the introduction of Kelsey Grammer as Howard Attinger. You know, Howard Attinger was a pretty interesting human villain. Really good. I also, as well, definitely love the introduction of Stanley Tucci as Joshua Joyce. You know, he was amazing in the movie, and definitely one of the best parts because he was pretty funny. You know, he had lots of really funny moments, and yeah. It was pretty good, and I liked the development as well, which was pretty cool, where he starts off as being like an arrogant Transformers creator, then he learns the error of his ways and joins forces with Cage, so yeah. I liked that development, so yeah. And they took the time of it, you know, they didn't, you know, rush it, they built it up, because, you know, there is one bad quality we'll say about the movie, guys, when it comes to runtime, which we'll get to. And I also, as well, liked Titus Welliver as James Savoy as well. Like, I thought he was a pretty interesting villain, and I like how he had backstory ways reveal that his sister died in Chicago, so yeah, in a battle, so yeah. I like how he had a reason to hunt the Autobots and Decepticons, so yeah. And, plus as well, however, there are some human characters I didn't really like very much, to be honest, and we'll get to that, so yeah, but another good quality I will say, guys, is definitely the music by Steve Jablonsky. He did such great music. Most of the music in this was brand new music. He didn't, you know, bring back very much familiar themes. Like, he brought back Arrival to Earth towards the end in the music, which is called A Legend Exists, when Autobots meet the Dinobots. But yeah, the Dinobots were, guys, another bad quality I will talk about in a moment, because I feel they're a bit of a letdown. So yeah, but Steve Jablonsky's music was amazing. I loved his soundtrack. It was so good. And yeah. Also, the action is also pretty decent as well, guys. You know, the fight scenes are pretty good. I like them. And many of the visuals are still pretty good. Absolutely. You know, the visuals, you know, they're really good in these first 4 movies. And yeah. But it was pretty good, yeah. And the action, the fight, it seems like... I liked Optimus' fight with Galvatron, and also I like his fight with Lockdown towards the end. I like how his final fight with the main antagonist was much longer than his fight with Fallen, because I feel that was way too short and easy to defeat as well, so yeah. Lockdown was way more dangerous, especially because he nearly, you know, won because he stabbed Optimus with a sword and nearly killed Cade. But yeah, he was stopped because, you know, Tessa, his daughter, her boyfriend called Shane, played by Jack Raynor, he was able to pull the sword out of Optimus using a truck, so yeah. Optimus was able to stab Lockdown and kill him, so yeah. Lockdown's death was pretty brutal, wasn't it, where he cut his face in half, like, oh, wow. And the ending was also promising as well, guys, because Optimus wanted to hunt his creators, but yeah. Like I said at the start, this was still an unnecessary sequel, but yeah. But like I said, those were the good qualities I was talking about, but yeah, now, on to bad qualities now. There are many reasons why I consider this movie not to be my favourite movie. I consider it to be my 4th favourite after, you know, Bumblebee Darkwing and the 2007 movie, so yeah. The biggest bad quality I can name about this movie, guys, is there is a character who I really, really hate, and it's none other than Tessa, Cade's daughter. Like, oh my god, right? She was so incredibly annoying as hell. I hated her character, guys. She really got on my nerves. Like, she was probably, like, you know, one of the all-time worst characters in the entire franchise, guys. Like, she ruined the movie for me, in my opinion. Like even when I first saw the movie when at the cinema, I hated her character. She really got on my nerves. I hated her. Like, she was such a pain to watch. Like, incredibly annoying, and like, these movies would be better if they focus more on the Transformers than the humans themselves, you know, and this is a major example of that, because she's annoying, and like, in the scene where Optimus is captured by Lockdown, rather than run away, she hides in a car, and like, when she's being pulled up in that, you know, net with Optimus, like, why didn't she just, you know, smash the glass with something, you know, like, really? That's just stupid. So she allowed herself to get captured when she could have just left the car in the first place, you know, she was so stupid. I also wasn't really much a fan of Shane Dyson either very much, you know, really a fan of him, you know, bit bland in my opinion, not really entertaining, you know, so yeah, he got on my nerves a bit. And I especially did not like Lucas, who is played by an actor that I hate, which is TJ Miller. So yeah, but thankfully, he's only in like the first half-hour movie because he does get killed by lockdown by a seed grenade. I mean, I remember when I watched this at the cinema, you know, and when he got killed, my father was watching with me, he said, bloody hell, when he got killed, because it was pretty brutal how he got turned into a transforming statue, but, you know, when I look back at it, it's actually quite satisfying because I hate TJ Miller, you know. And guys, I am not going into details of why I hate him. If you want to know why I hate him, go check out his Wikipedia page. It'll tell you everything you need to know. So yeah, thank God he's only in the movie half an hour, thankfully. You know, in like the first half hour of it, you know, the first act when he gets killed, so yeah. Because now, when I rewatch a movie, I just can't stand him, so I skip his scenes. And I like to skip most of Tessa's scenes as well. Like, I'm here for Transformers, guys, now. However, speaking of Transformers, guys, there is like a bad quality word here with regards to characters being that I really hate how very early into the movie, Ratchet was killed off. I hated that. Like, has Michael Bay learnt nothing after he killed Ironhide early into Darker Moon? Like, seriously? And it was such a really sad scene as well, you know. Like, because Ratchet was pleading for his life, you know, saying, you know, hold your fire, and that, you know, he's injured. Only to then get shot down, and then Lockdown kills him. But at least he died loyal to Optimus by saying he would never reveal his location to Lockdown, so yeah. He died loyal to Prime, so yeah, but it was still a really sad scene in my opinion. And unfortunately, that was his only scene in the movie alive, because he only appears in that scene, and then he's later seen as a decapitated head being melted in KSI. And, you know, that seems an example of why I do like Cade, because at least he showed lots of emotion and sympathy when he saw Ratchet was being melted, and then, you know, he showed it to the Autobots. And Peter Cullen's voice acting when he found out Ratchet was dead, when Autobots found out Ratchet was being melted, was phenomenal. The way he yelled that they slaughtered Ratchet, and then he goes on a rampage, like, perfect acting in my opinion from him. And also when it comes to Leadfoot, guys, you know, I also hate how he only had a cameo appearance where he's seen getting killed as well, like. And the movie never even confirmed what happened to the other wreckers being Robuster and Topspin, because they did not return, so yeah. And also, as well, they also never confirmed what happened to Sideswipe either, guys, because I'm pretty sure, like, comics did it, but they never even showed it in live action, so that's why in my Transformers Auto series, you know, I showed this, so yeah. I showed, you know, the fate of them. Topspin, of course, returned to the last night in Cuba, but, you know, Robuster was killed, so, yeah, I showed his death happening in Lockdown Awakening, same with Sideswipe and Leadfoot as well. And, so, yeah, I did not like how both Ratchet and Leadfoot were both incredibly wasted and killed off. And also, when it comes to Dinobots, guys, oh, gosh, right? The Dinobots, in my opinion, were a massive letdown, because the promotional material, guys, and the trailers were so incredibly misleading because, right, the Dinobots, despite being shown a lot in the trailers and promotional material, are hardly in the movie at all. They have, like, less than 10 minutes of screen time and they're incredibly wasted, which was incredibly disappointing. Like, I did not like that at all. I mean, like, I was at least glad to see them appear in live action because they're in G1. But yeah, they were so wasted, and plus, I didn't really like the design very much, guys. My favourite design is probably in G1 and also the Cybertron games. You know, like Fall of Cybertron, for example. But yeah, I didn't really like the design very much. And especially the robot mode. I prefer the dinosaur modes way more. And I hate how they were silent as well, so yeah. Like, I was hoping Greg Berger could reprise his role from G1 and Fall of Cybertron, but sadly not. He never got a chance to, all because Grimlock was silent and so were Dinobots. You know, that's why in my first Auto series, guys, you know, I explained the reason why they can't talk is because they get anti-symmetry wind and their vocal cords get burnt down by their flamethrowers. So, yeah, that's my explanation as to why they're silent. So, yeah. Another bad quality I will say, guys, about a movie is I feel that, you know, compared to all the other movies, it drags on way too long, because this is actually, guys, the longest movie in the franchise, if I remember correctly, because it is 165 minutes long. So, yeah, it's nearly 3 hours long, guys. Like, can you believe that? You know, no 50 minutes and it would have been 3 hours, you know. Like, they're trying to make it like an endgame runtime, but, yeah. The runtime of this movie didn't work for me because there were many boring scenes that dragged on way too long. Like, Endgame had way more, you know, worth it scenes that weren't boring at all. That's why it's my favourite movie of all time. But this, however, dragged on way too long. So, yeah. Like, it was pretty annoying, really, how it made it drag on, but, you know. Nevertheless, you know, I still enjoy it, you know, when I rewatch it, but I skip Tessa's scenes, guys, and Lucas's scenes, you know. I'm only here for Transformer scenes and also for Cade scenes as well, and also for Joshua Joyce and Howard Attinger, because they're still entertaining characters and much more likeable human characters especially. So yeah. And also Lockdown's also a great villain, and when it comes to his designs, guys, Optimus's redesign was okay, well admitted, so was Bumblebee's, but I like their design in Darker Moon way more, to be honest, because Optimus had his trailer, which was more favourable to G1. And I like Bumblebee's design as well, it was pretty cool in Darker Moon, because I feel it looked better than his previous 2 appearances, and you know. However, one other bad quality I will say, guys, is I feel like the CGI was much more weaker in this movie compared to the first 3, because the first 3 movies had incredible CGI that holds up so well, whereas this, however, doesn't really have very much good CGI, to be honest, but doesn't really hold up very well, like for example, I don't like how they made, you know, the KSI Transformers transform via pixels. I didn't really like that. That was really confusing and weird. I did not like that at all, guys, and it was just so confusing. Like, the transformations in this movie were so cheap, in my opinion, but they are tolerable compared to the last night's CGI for Transformers. Much better. So, yeah, that's why I prefer the CGI, you know, in this movie over that one. And also, of course, in the first 3, but yeah. Anyway, guys, so that's me reviewing Age of Extinction. So, you know, so if you want to give it out of 10, just like in my ranking I did last year, I'll give this movie an 8 out of 10. So, yeah, not perfect in any form of fashion, no way. But, yeah, it is tolerable compared to Avenger Fallen and The Last Night, in my opinion. So, into the live-action movies. So, you know, drill, guys, be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to leave in the comments what you guys think of Age of Extinction if you've seen it. Let's see your thoughts are on it. Also, be sure to subscribe to Ratchet, like I told you to the start, because he's got a great channel to go check out. So, and yeah, thanks again for taking part. It's been a pleasure to review this. Can't wait to review the next one with you. Also, be sure to join the team by pressing subscribe for more videos coming in the future. If you'd like to remember, you can press join using a piece of laptop. You can link more description. And till all are one.